everybody, thank you for joining me for another studio video. Last week you may remember that I was in between projects looking at what I've got on my painting queue and asking if anyone had any ideas for what I should get moving on next, and I received the sage advice that I should get on with finishing some of the things that I've got started rather than starting anything new, and I think that's very sensible. So I have been working on halflings. As anticipated, the university that I work for has now closed, as everything pretty much in the UK has. Everyone gone into lockdown. So if you are like me and you find yourself in this situation, you've got more time on your hands probably for painting than you otherwise would. So let's look on the positive side, and I'm expecting to get through quite a bit over the next few weeks and months. But I've started off with finishing off the halflings, and in my first week of being off managed to get those wrapped up. So let's just, I'm just going to lower the camera here a second. We'll take a look at, there we go, my little shire here. So not all of these were done just this week. Some of these I had already done, and a lot of them were in a position where they were nearly finished anyway. But this is what I've got. So I've got some people, there's some Midland miniatures down here. There's some Denizen miniatures, the little 25mm dwarfs that I've seconded into my halfling army. There's some Reaper stuff. These guys are Westphalia, along with the Ghost Knights. No, the Goat Knights. They're Westphalia as well. These guys are Wargames Atlantic, from the plastic Wargames Atlantic sprue that we got at postage rate for filling in the survey over the summer. I think they're probably available now. And then these guys at the back, these Piggyback halfling man catchers. I think I'm going to check who it was who made these. I'm not sure if they're still available, but I'll check that one out and put it in the link. And then I've got a few other little weirdo things in here, like this little gnome who is from Die Hard Miniatures. But you probably can't see them very well spread out like this, so let's see if I can get these to focus on some of these guys. So this is a Midland Miniatures halfling here. I've gone for a green and yellow colour scheme with them. That seemed nicely pastoral colour scheme to go with, and the red rose on the shield is actually the symbol of the town where I live. So I thought, let's go quintessentially English town, quintessentially English rose on the shield there. This chappie was a Wargames Foundry special that was available last year at Bring Out Your Lead. I think he may still be in their catalogue. You may still be able to get him, and he came with a chicken. So chickens. I actually got two of him. So I customized the other one. I put a different head on with a helmet, and just to change the pose up slightly. I think it gives enough of a different feel there for them to not look like the same miniature. There's the Westphalia halberdier, and a little halfling sorcerer there as well, and of course the Goat Knights with their rose shields there. These guys are the plastic Wargames Atlantic miniatures. They came on a sprue with how many heads? Loads of heads. I think maybe 16 heads for 5 bodies.
maybe even 20 heads for 5 bodies, far too many heads. So I was trying to find something else to put heads on, but they seemed the wrong scale for everything else that I had. So that quest will continue. I wanted to make them up as sort of militia. They've got this kind of padded coat, and these little helmets I thought were quite good for a little town militia. So I wanted to give them all bills and pikes, but there weren't quite enough. There were only 4 or 2 bills and 2 pikes in a sprue. So I ended up making up this guy as a Robin Hood halfling, and they're quite nice miniatures to paint. They were a bit of a bitch to stick together. I remember why I don't like plastic kits. They were a bit of a pain to try and fit together, and the faces do not have a huge amount of detail in them. The feet are a little bit ropey, even especially these are almost certainly digital sculpts. I would have expected there to be a bit more definition in the feet there, but they're a bit washed out. But they're not bad for the price. They're pretty decent figures. So these are here's one of the denizen miniatures. I don't know if it'll focus on that. Sort of dwarf knights. I managed to chop the beard off the bottom of those that had enclosed helmets, and then for the ones with the open helmets, let me find one that's got an open helmet. There's another enclosed helmet. For the ones with the open helmets, I just left the beard in place. I'm not too worried about my halflings not having beards. These are the piggyback guys. They're very, very nice models. They're much bigger, much chunkier than the other halflings, so I don't know if they will go that well together. They're a very different style, and I painted them for a different game a while ago, and I've based them differently. I just have just touched in the edges of the base with black to make them match together, but we'll probably use them for separate things. These bases, incidentally, are just pennies. Decided that for the size of the miniature, sticking it on a big raised 25mm base looked a bit strange, so I put them on the pennies instead. And then this guy, I'm quite pleased with. This is my tribute to Bowser Cooper in Wargaming Turtle form. Just going through the colour scheme really, and the guy mounted behind him is one of the Citadel Blood Bowl halflings. So I thought he was quite fun. So that's what I have been doing over the past week, and they're pretty much finished. So I think what I'll be doing next is moving on to the Hero Quest diorama. Some of you have said that you'd quite like to see that. That's good, because I'd quite like to move on to that. So I think I'll get going on that next. But I wanted to I wanted to just put something out while this lockdown is happening in the UK. I don't know, you probably don't find any difficulty finding projects and things to entertain you with, but if you've got maybe a big lead pile and you're not sure where to start with, or we all get days where we're uninspired with what to pick up and paint and what to do. So I thought maybe that I could do a weekly challenge. Take it up if you want to take it up, don't take it up if you don't want to take it up. I'm sure you've all got better things to do. But if you wanted to take it up, I'll just throw a challenge out there every week, and then we'll see. There may be a prize for someone who's done all of the challenges or the most challenges by the end of the lockdown, whenever that is. So this week, this was brought about by a painting challenge that happened on one of the Old Hammer Facebook pages, to go to eBay and find an Old Hammer miniature that you wouldn't normally paint up and paint that up. So that was the challenge that led to this. But what I ended up doing was just typing Old Hammer into eBay, buying the cheapest figure that came up, and he's arrived, and he's a particular monstrosity, which is good. I'm looking forward to painting up a particularly horrible figure, giving it as good a paint job as I can. So that is my challenge to you. Find the most horrible figure in your lead pile, in your collection, or if you haven't got any horrible figures, go on eBay, have a look for the cheapest, most horrific, poorly sculpted miniature that you can, and give it as good a paint job as you can. Give it as much love as if it was a great spine dragon. Spend all of the time and effort painting up this miniature beautifully, and see what you can make of it. And I'll show you how I get on next week. Okay, in the meantime, stay safe and enjoy having a bit more time if you have. And if you haven't, if you're looking after children, or if you are a key worker, then thank you for all that you're doing. As part of Oakbound, we have been supplying packs of miniatures to schools that are looking after the children of key workers so that they can carry on doing their valuable work. We are currently out of packs. We've used up all of our stock, but we're making the rule sets available as free PDFs. So if you're entertaining children in your home, or if you've got groups of children who you're supporting, and you want to tap into that, let me know, send me an email, send me a message, and we'll see what we can do about getting you some rules. Okay? All right. Take care. Bye.